Is Instagram still worth your time and effort in 2023? I'm willing to bet that you've asked yourself that question before. Maybe you ask yourself that question every week. Maybe you ask yourself that question every time you make your cup of tea in the morning. Who knows? I know for a fact that it's a commonly asked question because people ask me that question all the time. So I figured, let's do a whole video on it. So today I will be talking about whether or not Instagram is still worth your time and effort, and I'm going to be looking at it from a few different points of views and scenarios. So if that sounds of interest to you, keep on watching and please hit the subscribe button, like and comment under this video. It really helps me out. I upload new content just like this every single week. I just did that thing where I think I had lipstick on my teeth for that intro. So do I risk redoing the intro or do I just run with it? I think I'm gonna run with it. If I did have lipstick on my teeth, just ignore it. Let's keep it moving. So Instagram has been going through quite a few changes over the past couple of years. I actually saw someone comment on one of my videos saying that they think Instagram is having a midlife crisis, and I thought it was such a great way to sum up what's been going on with the platform. If you're not familiar with a lot of the different changes that's been happening to Instagram, I'm gonna link to a video up here. I'll put a few more links in the description where I talk to you about all the changes coming to Instagram, especially the ones coming to Instagram in 2023. Now, because of all the changes that have come to the platform, a lot of creators have struggled to grow. And when people are struggling to grow, people get quite frustrated, and people often ask themselves, is it worth my time anymore? Am I ever gonna grow? Am I ever gonna get the engagement I want? Is it ever going to allow me to build the community that I'm trying to build? So today we're gonna dive into that topic, and I'm gonna look at it from 4 perspectives. The first is Instagram still worth your time if you're trying to grow a big audience? The second is it still worth your time if you're trying to grow and build an engaged community? The third is it worth your time if you're trying to work with brands as a creator or an influencer? And the fourth is it worth your time if you are trying to grow your business? Let's kick off with number 1, which is Instagram still worth your time if you are trying to grow a huge audience? So in order for you to grow a huge audience on any platform, one of the key things that you need is reach. And this basically means that when you share content on Instagram, you need to be able to reach a big audience, specifically an audience who are different from the people who are already following you. Because when you reach a new big audience, it means that you're giving those people the opportunity to see your content. When they see your content, hopefully they'll fall in love with it and they'll follow you as a result. And that is how you end up growing a big audience on any social media platform. Now, where the struggle comes in with Instagram is Instagram was inherently built as an app that was really great for people who wanted to see content from people they already follow. So I like to see it as a closed app. It's changed recently, we'll get onto that, but I feel like that's the best way to describe how Instagram initially worked. It was a closed app. You would go on Instagram and you would see content from people you follow. The only time you would see content from people you didn't follow was when you headed to the explore page. Now, when you go on the explore page, you know that you're going to see content from a lot of different people, and a lot of the content you're going to see will not be from people that you already follow. So back in the day when this was the way that Instagram works, the only way for people to grow, for creators to grow on the platform, would be to get on that explore page. If you got on the explore page, you would normally end up seeing quite a lot of growth. And that is how all the OG content creators, businesses, influencers on Instagram, that is how they grew. They got on the explore page and that like supercharged their growth, right? Just to give like a simplistic view on how most people would have grown back then. Now, I'm pleased to announce that Instagram is changing and it's trying to become more of an open platform and have more of an open model. And what that basically means is that Instagram is trying to become more like TikTok or even more like YouTube, where when a user opens up the app, they actually see content from loads of people. So not just from the people they follow, but also from people who they don't follow. And it's this type of system which allows for growth as content creators. That is why people are able to grow a lot quicker on a platform like TikTok, because when people open up TikTok, they immediately see content from people they don't already follow. The same as on YouTube. When you go on YouTube as a user, you see videos from people you do subscribe to, but also from people who you don't subscribe to, who YouTube just thinks you might like. Instagram is trying to become more like that, and if they get that right, it will be slightly easier for us to grow. Where the problem lies is that most Instagram users don't want Instagram to change their model. Now, the ways in which they're trying to make it easier for creators to grow is by implementing features like suggested posts. So you know when you are on your home feed and you see a post by someone who you don't follow, but it's suggested by Instagram. That's an example of how Instagram are trying to change their model to become more like TikTok and YouTube. Now, the problem is that most people don't like suggested posts. People don't like this change that Instagram are going through. And because people don't like it, it's not being as widely accepted as Instagram would like. And until people change their mind on it and actually people want to see suggested posts and content from people they don't follow yet, our job as creators to try and grow on Instagram will remain difficult. So this is all to say that if you're trying to grow a huge audience on Instagram in 2023 and you're asking yourself, is it even worth it? My honest answer is probably not. Straight out the gate with a harsh one. My honest answer to this is, if you are trying to grow a huge audience, your objective is growth, right? You are gonna struggle to do that on Instagram. It can still happen. I have clients who have seen incredible growth. I have friends who have seen incredible growth, and I'm talking like within the last couple of months. It can totally happen. But it is more likely to happen on another platform like TikTok than it is on Instagram at the moment, at least until Instagram really nail this new like open model. And until they nail that, you will find it easier to grow on a platform like TikTok than you would on a platform like Instagram. And that is just the God's honest truth, okay? Let's move on. So, next question. Is Instagram still worth your time in 2023? I was going to say 2022. If, you can tell it's early Jan. If you are trying to grow a community or you're really focusing on engagement. Now, I'm going to give you my answer to this question in a second, and I'm going to give you some context for it first. The thing that Instagram has going for it is that Instagram has a lot of different features. On Instagram, you can share a reel, a video, a carousel, a photo. You can share stories. You can add stickers to your stories. You can go live. Like, you can have subscriptions. There are so many different features available on Instagram, and a lot of those features are actually really geared towards community building and engagement. For example, the direct messaging feature on Instagram is one of the best direct messaging features across any social media platform. Don't even fight me on it. That is just the God's honest truth. They also have new features coming out, like their notes feature, which allows you to attach like a status to your profile in your DMs. I'm not really sold on that one yet, but it shows that they're still investing time and energy into making their DM feature better. So in terms of direct messages and therefore your ability to speak directly to your audience, you're going to have an easier time doing that on Instagram than you will across some of the other platforms. There's also things like your stories, which are so great for sharing really authentic content. They allow for responses, they allow for interactive stickers, polls, quizzes, a question box. These are all amazing features for community building and for developing engagement. So with that in mind, my answer to the question, is Instagram still worth your time and your effort in 2023 if you are trying to build a community and deepen engagement with your audience? The answer is yes, it is still worth your time. In fact, that is my strategy for 2023. I'm using Instagram this year for community development and for engagement. I actually share my entire strategy for Instagram this year in this video, so I recommend watching it to find out more. But all of that to say that yes, it is worth your time if that is what you're trying to do on Instagram this year. Next up, is Instagram still worth your time if you are trying to work with more brands and get more partnerships and sponsorships this year? So this question is for the content creators, the influencers out there. Hello, how are you? I know that you'll be thinking, is it still worth my time if that is one of my core goals for the year? Now, there's a few things to note when it comes to this question. First of all, we already know that it's more difficult to grow on Instagram than it is on a lot of other platforms. You already spoke about that at the start of the video. It is worth noting though, that even though it's harder for you to grow, so you might have a smaller audience on Instagram than if you focused on something like TikTok, brands actually pay more money per follower on Instagram than they do for TikTok. Small caveat to mention here before we dive deeper is, obviously I'm not counting things like the quality of your content, what your engagement is, because that would make this conversation too complex. If we simply look at your audience size on a platform like Instagram versus TikTok, when a brand is deciding whether or not to pay you and they're looking at your audience size, 10,000 followers on Instagram is actually worth more than 10,000 followers on TikTok. There's a huge explanation to this. I'm gonna link to yet another video. Hope you've got some spare time after this video, guys, because there's quite a lot to watch. I'm gonna link to another video where I talk about the differences between Instagram and TikTok, just to give you like the full in-depth understanding of why I'm saying this, but in a nutshell, the reason why brands will pay more for followers on Instagram is because when you share content on Instagram, your audience are more likely to see it versus when you share content on TikTok. When you share content on TikTok, the people who actually follow you, we have no idea if they've seen it or not. Like, a lot of the time they're not seeing it, a lot of the time it's other people. And because of that, from a brand's view, there's a bit of an unknown element to working with TikTokers, not all TikTokers, but to some of them, because their views will change so drastically versus working with an Instagrammer, because whilst their views and stuff might change, they're usually a lot more consistent. There are loads of other reasons why a brand might pay more for an Instagram partnership versus a TikTok one, but that's just one of the main reasons that I want to share. Also, on this topic, because Instagram have so many features, there's a great opportunity for creators and influencers to negotiate higher paid deals, because you could work with a brand and say, I will do 3 stories for you, I will do a reel, I will do a static post. There's just more that you can offer to create a package deal, and that usually means that you can end up with more valuable and lucrative partnership deals. But even more than all of that stuff that I just mentioned, something that you need to know is that brands know and love Instagram. Brands know and love that channel, and that hasn't changed yet. There's a lot of brands who also know and love TikTok and YouTube and etc. But brands inherently know Instagram. They know how to partner with people on Instagram. Instagram have features where you can actually set up a brand collaboration, which means a brand can actually see how content has performed. They get access to the analytics. So there are all these features that Instagram have set up because they've been in this game for so long, which makes it such a safe, easy place for a brand to work with creators, okay? So you've got to keep that in mind as well. So you can probably guess that my answer to the question, is Instagram worth your time this year if you want to work with more brands? The answer is yes, it is worth your time. Brands still love it, you might get paid more, and there are loads of features so you can create a great package deal. All right, so final question here. Is Instagram still worth your time this year if you are trying to use it to grow your business? So there are loads of different things to discuss here, but the main thing that we need to remember is that Facebook owns Instagram, and Facebook has been in the game even longer than Instagram has. And because of that, Instagram gets to benefit from having a lot of features which are fairly complex that are designed for business owners that other platforms simply do not have. For example, Facebook advertising. And if you didn't know already, majority of the time when you see ads on Instagram, they've actually been set up on Facebook using Facebook's ad manager, or Meta. I always forget to use Meta rather than Facebook, but we know what I mean, right? So businesses get to benefit from Facebook advertising, which is a very robust system where it allows you to target millions, maybe even billions, I don't even know, of people, and not many other platforms can rival that level of advertising and targeting that Facebook can. With that being said, Facebook ads are not easy. Please do not go into it thinking that you don't need to learn anything, you could just play around. I'll link to a video where I talk a bit more about Facebook ads. It does take a while to get right, but for some companies who manage to get it right, it has completely transformed their business. In addition to Facebook advertising, Instagram can benefit from things like Instagram shopping, which allows brands to link their products or their services to their Instagram page and actually make their content shoppable. Now, there are other platforms where you can do that, for example on TikTok, but it is just worth noting that Instagram has a lot of different features which are designed for business owners to help you run your business more efficiently on the platform. Now, for that reason, I was originally inclined to say yes, Instagram is still worth your time in 2023 if you're trying to grow a business. However, I have decided to change my answer to yes/no, super helpful for everyone. And the no comes in because in order for you to grow your business organically on Instagram, which means not spending any money, so not doing Facebook advertising, you need to have reach and you need to have growth because you need to reach your audience. And as we already discussed at the start of the video, that can be difficult on Instagram nowadays. Not impossible, but definitely difficult. So unless you're willing to put all the time and effort that's required in order to actually grow and get good reach from Instagram in 2023, you may struggle to grow your business in the way that you would like on that platform. So in conclusion, my answer to the question, is it still worth your time if you're trying to grow a business? Yes, it is, but also it might not be. It really comes down to you, how much time and effort you're willing to dedicate, and also if you're going to actually use any of Instagram's business features in the first place. Because if you're not, then maybe the answer might be no. Now, I do want to wrap up by reminding you that Instagram is still one of the biggest and most popular social media platforms. It still has billions of monthly active users. It is not dead, even though people seem to think it is. It's not dead, people still use it. And as long as people are still using it, the platform is not dead. People are growing their businesses on Instagram every day. People are working with brands on Instagram every day. People are growing their following on Instagram every day, myself included. So So overall, I definitely feel like Instagram is still worth your time and effort. You just have to think about what your true reason is for using Instagram this year, and you've got to be willing to like put a bit more graft in. I don't know why I'm doing this. Put a bit more graft in to actually see success from the platform. Don't fret though, I've got a whole playlist of tips and videos that are completely free for you to consume that will give you a lot of information to help you on your journey. If you feel like hanging around and you don't know where to get started, I do recommend watching this video. It is all about how you can go from 0 to 10,000 followers on Instagram. Yes, even in 2023. Thank you so much for watching as always. I can't wait to see you in my next video.